YouTube, how the heck you doing? This is Corey here with Watcher Realms. Now we are back. We did a 3-2 this go around. We are against a guild named High Guard. At this point, we should be back in the top 10 for Overlord, but yeah, we'll just see how the actual rankings break out. We did do a 3-2, but I'm pretty sure I did like damage on one of them. I'm not 100% sure, but there are some things to take away from, and also there was like a really weird interaction that I didn't expect with this map. But I guess it makes somewhat of sense. So in this case, this is obviously going to be a Brokir team, which is the esoteric team. One of the main kind of annoying parts about this team in particular is just because they have like this really weird knack of having Boreas basically proc his ultimate and then essentially nullify the Grotesque Fiend's ability to self-heal. So what you typically do is you use the rats. However, I'm just super unlucky and I can't get any of these new demon soldiers from the chests. So I am basically stuck with the old strategy of just using the normal spiders, which honestly speaking is either a hit or miss. Half the time it goes really poorly. The other half, like, it works somewhat decently, but it's not the same in comparison to actually using the rats and just getting that instant heal. So either way, what we go ahead and do is we drop the Fool first at the 10 cost, and then subsequently we drop the normal Abyssal Beholders, typically around like 9 costs or 8.5 costs. Either one works, but 9. YouTube, super quick, small one is currently offering some awesome packs if you are interested in going ahead and spending. I know these have a little bit of time left. This is expiring on December 1st. So if you are interested in spending and you're trying to get that Lord, I know I'm trying to get Nastia to save my life and I'm just having no luck. Maybe I do get it by buying these packs. It'd be awesome. But just in general, if you are interested, they have some rare summoning packs here. They have some legendary summoning crystals, some ancient summoning crystals, diamonds, refining crystals, just a decent chunk of things. And also they do have the privilege card that is for basically half off. So if you are interested, obviously just go ahead and use the link in the description below. See ya. Cost is typically better if you want to reduce the amount of damage that your Fool is taking. And then we drop the spiders down onward. Now with this, I tried to go ahead and drop the spiders a little bit earlier, mainly because I wanted to try to get, or I dropped them later because I wanted my Grotesque Fiend to get the shields from the Fool, but that didn't necessarily happen. As you can see, we just kind of get hit straight into the Boreas ultimate, get no healing, and then from there on out, it really is just kind of like GG. Super unfortunate. Just not much you can do in that particular case, right? When the Boreas anti-heal basically prevents the Grotesque Fiend from healing. Then also, I swear to God, it felt like this Cyrus just refused to die, even whenever we dropped the Fool over here. And the Fool actually, and I didn't expect this, the Fool actually can go ahead and provide shields across this little gap right here. I don't think we get to see it. Okay, we do, right? So the Fool is going ahead and putting the shield on the Grotesque Fiend. But in this case, right, we miraculously just get no chance of the Grotesque Fiend doing a double hit. And the one time he does, it's right in the in-between point where Cyrus gets a heal. So, super unlucky. From there on out, it really is just like an instant loss. There's not much to go through. Grotesque Fiend RNG didn't want to work with me in that particular instance. So a little bit unlucky, but it happens. Can't really complain too much about it. And then we have this other team. This one was a success, relatively easily, quite honestly speaking, because we basically get to repeat the same strategy that we did before, which is we're dropping the Fool into the Beholders, into the Grotesque Fiend. Now with Regulus, it's a little bit different because Regulus has his invulnerable state whenever you do go ahead and technically take him down, whenever you do kill him. But he isn't necessarily the most durable tank beyond that. Even his ultimate doesn't go ahead and provide like some major buffs to him. It just reduces his overall damage, and he kind of shares the damage that is dealt to his adjacent allies. In this case, his adjacent allies aren't really getting any damage, so it's not too big of a deal for us. So what we do is just basically the same setup here. And then what is a difference is because they are using Eye, it's basically super important to use the golden guards, which is like the collision guards that just kind of run through the map, because they get to at least avoid, or not avoid, they get to ignore the eye crystals. So once Regulus does go down from our Grotesque Fiend rotation, it's really easy for us to just pace ourselves and drop those double golden collision guards, and we're able to just run through the map here. So I'm gonna speed this up just a little bit here, because eventually this Regulus will go down. Eventually, right? Even though he takes out the first one, we have a second rotation already built on the back end. So right when we get to this 3 cost, we're going to go drop our bugs right now, and they're going to go and cross. And notice, right, Regulus did proc his ultimate, so that puts us in a really good position now to just take him down, especially on this next rotation. So it should be a pretty simple win from here. And also, the Grotesque Fiend is going to take out the Regulus, but he's also going to take out the Nezha. So as long as this Grotesque Fiend doesn't die, that's going to give us 1 point. And then the double collision guards are just going to go ahead and solidify the win for us. So there we go. Regulus is down, Nezha is down, and that's our cue to start this up. So collision guard 1, he's going to get the shields from the Fool, ideally. Doesn't happen. And then the second one will 100% get it, because we want him to at least survive this ultimate here, and he does, and we go ahead and secure the win. So definitely a little bit of an easier run in comparison to the Cyrus run, because Cyrus, I don't know, man. Cyrus can be a little bit annoying at times, quite honestly speaking. He just refuses to die. At least from my experience, he just never dies. And then the next one is this. What is this? Okay. This one's a funny one, actually. Super funny one. This is including Count Dracula. Vladimir is one of the two. Dracula. There we go. So basically, he is like super annoying because he provides anti-heal, and he does a significant amount of damage. So what we do is we drop the Pharaoh Guard, and the point of the Pharaoh Guard is really just to bait out the ultimates for these units, and then we're using our Shadow Keepers, which mine are level 9. They could be higher. I know I'm bad. I'm trolling. I'm bad player, right? So what we do is we go ahead and tank out this Vladimir ult. Our next order is to drop double Shadow Keepers, and the reason for this is because this is 4 block, and they have the ability to dodge, and on top of it, they deal a lot of damage, right? The next step is by the time these units connect onto the Toreador, we should basically have about 10 costs, which allows us to stagger our dogs. So what's going to happen here is they're going to hit. We're going to drop dog set number 1. So 2 dogs should kind of pass through here, and they do. And they start dealing damage to the Nezha. Nezha's down. They start dealing damage to the Dracula. Dracula's down. From here, it's a pretty simple win, because we still have these 3 Shadow Keepers on the Toreador, and the final dog is able to pass through. And genuinely speaking, there's a really good chance that this Toreador just dies also, just because of the sheer amount of damage that was being dealt to it. But we secure the win pretty comfortably at that, just because of the overall damage output that we are putting on the Toreador. Also, importantly, once again, when Toreador goes down, he is dead. He has no block for a brief moment. So that also helped us generally just kind of pass through. The next team, this is an Ingrid Villar team. I'm not exactly sure what I was doing. I feel like I was probably just trolling, if I'm being honest with you. And I do feel like this Wukong has to be full HP, because I don't think I've ever seen a Wukong just tank my mages with my BP like this one did. Obviously, Regulus does play a part in that, but like this Wukong was taking negative damage. Like 0 damage. So I don't know. Maybe it is literally because Regulus was eating some of that damage paired with Earless, so it just helped out. But yeah, it was definitely a grueler, and because of that, like once these mages die, I've already indexed so much into blowing up the Wukong. The second that it fails, it really is just a GG. So I can tell you what happens. I basically just start dropping units randomly and hoping that something works. Obviously, a single Grotesque Fiend with no stacks is going to do negative damage to Regulus and absolutely fail. So that's literally what happens here. It's just nothing goes my way in that attack. So it is what it is. And then the final attack, yeah, this is another esoteric team. However, the difference is they are not running like a hard CC beyond like the Boreas, obviously. They're running on Numera, which is, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I can't complain. It's more damage, but the biggest thing is they're lacking a form of like hard CC, which is what makes the team like so annoying to go against. Also, in this particular case, this would have usually been like a Nastia, for example. And Nastia does a significant amount of damage in comparison to Numera, especially when Numera doesn't have the ability to explode the poisons. So in this case, we basically just run the normal Grotesque Fiend strat, and it's a pretty easy win. All things considered, I'm pretty sure I just like one shot Cyrus some point here. So let's go ahead and see. We go ahead, we put the shield on the Grotesque Fiend. We are chunking down the Cyrus, obviously sharing damage with the skeleton. Double hit. He's getting the damage reduction moments. Damage reduction moments. Come on, where's the damage reduction ending? Be like right around now. There we go. And then we build up the second half here. Grotesque Fiend number 1 isn't doing enough. The Grotesque Fiend number 2 is being built. One of the things here is they are just doing no damage. Like, as you can see, this Grotesque Fiend, if this was an Nastia, would have died like 20 seconds ago. And so what happens is we get this next build, and I guess in this build is where we actually get some success, where we're not just getting damage reduction glitched to oblivion. And then we have the double dogs that we're able to drop once this Grotesque Fiend successfully takes out the Cyrus. So just speed this up, because eventually the Cyrus does go down. There we go. Finally. Took 10,000 years, but the second Cyrus is down, we just insta win. That's all there is to it. See ya.